It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
That time for this week's cup of coffee. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And this week, hey, the River Casino doesn't get on the ballot. We'll talk about that plus toll bridge jumpers. You see that?
I did see that. That was wild.
That way a woman has set herself on fire. We visit the Quaker groundbreaking for their Phase 3 construction in Eldon, plus local Brady Spriggs, your national champion gold medal winner. We'll tell you about that and a whole lot more. Plus, Chris and I take a trip out to Captain Ron's to taste the lake. That and a whole lot more on this week's Cup of Coffee after this from Slumberland at the Lake.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. It's hard to believe summer's almost gone and we're starting our Labor Day sale. What's that mean for you? Your best night's sleep ever at a great price. You need to come check out the Stearns & Fosters. We're up to $900 off of adjustable base sets. Tempur-Pedics up to $700 off. And the new purples, come check those out at up to $800 off. You get sale prices and free financing. Don't forget, we deliver the entire lake area. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, as we get started this week, Uncle Chris, everything the last couple of weeks been focused on our primary elections, leading into the general elections in November. And you know it's been a hot topic over the last couple of years is the Lake of the Ozarks getting a casino. We've had the Osage Nation casino project that's currently kind of in limbo. And then, of course, the recent development over the last year or so is the effort to amend the Missouri Constitution that allows 13 casino licenses in the state, which Missouri currently has 13 casino licenses. Well, as we've told you about, Osage River Gaming, along with Ballot Sports, they've been collecting petitions to try to get on the November ballot. So Missouri voters can decide, do you want to amend the Missouri Constitution and allow a 14th casino in the state of Missouri? That would be on the Osage River. So we found out this week that the signatures were not enough, or they were not confirmed. This coming from the Secretary of State's and local authorities. They said it did not meet the signature requirement to get on the ballot. So as of right now, voters in November in Missouri will not be deciding on whether or not the 14th casino becomes a reality, but that does not mean it's a dead-end road, it doesn't look like.
Right. Apparently that door is still open. I was shocked that they didn't get on the ballot for this. I thought they would easily do that, but Mayor Newberry of Lake Ozark put out a letter addressing this after it failed to make the ballot. And he said, while we are disappointed to learn of this, we are happy to learn that Osage River Gaming and Bally's are committed to learning of the deficiencies and responding back to the Secretary of State's office with information that could change the status, including an appeal process if needed. So apparently it's not done. It might be on life support, but it's not dead.
Yeah, and it just means that it's probably not going to happen as soon as the Osage River Gaming and Ballot Sports would like. But in that letter, as you said, they have means it looks like they're going to respond back. And as you alluded to, could even include an appeal, which I don't know how that would look. Now, I did talk to Mayor Newberry, and he was encouraged and optimistic. And he said, you know, I'm not sure if they couldn't validate or verify the signatures in time or what it was, but by his understanding, the amount was far and exceeded. I mean, it was far and greatly exceeded from the minimum amount of signatures. And so I believe the issue would have to be on verifying those and validating those. Excuse me. Now, as we also look at the other things that they were trying to get on the November ballot, there were 4, and the 14th casino license was the only one that didn't make it. Making the ballot was sports betting, legalizing abortion, and raising minimum wage and sick leave. So come November in that general election, Missouri voters will be deciding whether or not we allow legal sports betting in the state of Missouri. Missouri just one of a few states across the United States that does not allow sports betting legally right now. You have to go over the border, or a lot of people will do it through Vegas. And so the other one, abortion and raising minimum wage and sick leave. All three of those, they're going to be on the ballot, but this this was the 14th. And so looks like if this does happen, it's not going to happen as soon as one would like. But that is a little update. And for a lot of people locally, I saw a lot of pushback. They don't want a casino. And for them, I know this is good news. And I also saw the other side that seemed to be disappointed by this update.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's two different entities that want to bring a casino to the area. The Osage River Gaming, which they're trying to change the Missouri Constitution, which isn't working yet. And then you've got the the Osage Indian Nation, and they're both still working on this. It's quiet, things aren't moving really fast, but that doesn't mean either one of them are going away. So it'll be interesting to see what the months and years have in store for this.
Yeah, and I mean, it's worth noting that it is still likely, or at least plausible, that Lake of the Ozarks could have two casinos in the future. You could have the Osage Nation, which is their own sovereign nation, where they would be able to adhere to their own guidelines and not under the Missouri Gaming Constitution or gaming statute. And then you could also have a 14th casino on the Osage River. Both of those could be right down here close to the Lake of the Ozarks, which would make it look a whole lot different. And of course, we'll keep you posted on that. So that was one headline. Another headline that made waves, this was Tuesday of last week, but allegedly two people had jumped from the Lake Community Bridge. At first, there were tons of emergency responders. My wife was on the way home from picking up my daughter from school, and she said, there were emergency responders, there was a helicopter, there was ambulances, there was highway patrol. It was just a scene, and so it led a lot of people to believe, hey, this could be a suicide, right? That's what you think when you see jumpers from a bridge. Well, not so fast. Reports later that day said a bystander, an eyewitness, reported that both people who jumped off the bridge were wearing life vests or life jackets and were able to get on the back of PWCs and pull away. And I could not confirm or deny whether or not the identities had been found out yet. But at this point in time, it looks like two people in life jackets jumped off the toll bridge last Tuesday and were fortunate enough to not only live, but then had a getaway plan with two PWCs that picked them up and took them away. But that's like Evel Knievel stuff. That's a little too risky for my blood.
Yeah, I'm not sure how high that is feet-wise, but it's dangerous. If you land wrong, if you land on your face, you're probably going to die.
Sure.
Or you could break legs or whatever. Hitting that water is pretty hard. And this happened just before 3 o'clock, a week ago on Tuesday. And somebody else also mentioned that even wearing the life jackets, if you hit the water wrong, it could snap your neck and break your neck. So there's a whole lot of dangers that go in. Apparently the guys were okay. I'm guessing it was two guys. Nobody was hurt, apparently. They went off on the PWCs not to be heard from again. It'll be interesting to see if we ever learn who these people are. Also, something I learned in this story was that at one end of the bridge, it's closer to the water, so it's safer to jump off the bridge. Don't do it, though. And then on the other end, by J.B. Hooks, I think it's much higher.
Yeah.
And so that's much more dangerous. They were saying, the police were saying they definitely would have died if they would have jumped from that end, which was interesting because I've never really seen, that bridge it be in different elevations, but it is.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and like you said, they must have, just assuming they must have jumped from the Shawnee side. But either way, I wouldn't recommend going and jumping off any of the bridges here locally. I talked to a local business owner, and he goes, outside of all the emergency responders that were pulled away from what they were doing,
right,
which is the concern there, they're like, man, we've taken things so serious. He goes, I remember growing up at the lake. He goes, the Grand Glaze Bridge, he goes, every couple of weeks, somebody would go up there and jump off. That was kind of fun. He goes, and that was when you had a couple of people patrolling the entire lake by land, maybe one by boat. And he goes, no one really cared back then, but now that stuff is absolutely not allowed. And so that got a lot of attention online, and there was all kinds of people assuming what had happened, but I'm just glad they were all right, because that could have been a tragic ending to that story.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, I think it was either the Hurricane Deck Bridge, I think it was the Hurricane Deck Bridge. A couple guys at night, they'd been drinking, jump off the bridge, landed falling forward, landed kind of on their face, they died. At least that was the story I'd heard. So this isn't just fun and games. You can really get hurt doing this. So kids at home, don't be doing that. So pretty scary stuff, really.
Yeah, and especially when you have a little liquid confidence, your judgment gets clouded just a little bit. I'm surprised we don't see that more because we do have the 3 or 4 bridges down here. You know, I'm surprised we don't have more reports about
Well, and they
happening.
did say since 1996 there have been multiple instances of people committing suicides by jumping off these bridges. Not good.
No doubt about it. Okay, so as we move forward in local stories, now I believe we had this young man on Lake TV previously, but 17-year-old Brady Spriggs, who's been wakeboarding since he was 5 years old, essentially his whole life for the last 12 years, was just won the national championship gold medal through the Nautique WWA. This took place on Lake Ty in Monroe, Washington from July 25th to July 28th. Of course, Kirby Leisman, his mentor, and Brody said it was just unbelievable. Brady said it was unbelievable to get this win. His final pass of the day was what did it. And he was talking with Kirby, and he said, you know, what an unbelievable accomplishment. He now wants to get a podium finish at the World Championship.
Wow.
Is his next dream. And then his goal, he said, really, is he wants to continue to pursue his dream of being pro, but then he's planning on moving to Florida and wants to coach with Kirby Leisman and kind of continue that direction. So Brady Spriggs, congratulations, young man, on winning the WWA, Nautique WWA National Championship gold medal for wakeboarding. Pretty impressive, and right down here from Lake of the Ozarks, so thought that was pretty cool.
That is very cool. Local boy goes big, baby, wins that, and that's, I've never wakeboarded. Have you ever wakeboarded?
No, you have to be nimble and quick and pretty athletic to do that.
You know, Coach Shore and his whole family do that, right?
Oh, sure.
So when I was talking to him one time, I asked him, well, what were you doing yesterday? He's, oh, we were just out wakeboarding with the boys. You ought to come join us sometime. It's like, right. Talk about suicide. That would be suicide for me, baby.
I'd love to see that. That would be a sight indeed. All right, so hey, a more troubling headline we saw over the last week was on August 2nd, about 1:40 in the morning off Crossing West Drive in Lake Ozark, a 56-year-old woman actually set herself on fire. Lake Ozark Police Department were first on scene. They located a can of gas near the vehicle, and allegedly there was another woman on the scene who's not being named, and they did say she set herself on fire, according to officers who actually had previous encounters with the woman who has had a history of mental illness. She left with burns covering 80% of her body and was life-flighted to the University of Missouri in Columbia. And on August 11th, unfortunately, the Lake Ozark PD was informed that she had succumbed to her injuries and passed away. This reminder from our friends at COMC that, you know, mental health is a very real issue, and COMC's behavioral health team practices integrated healthcare and are able to offer tools and programs such as assessments, individual consultations, family counseling, and substance misuse or addiction counseling to help you if you're struggling. They're licensed providers there, committed to help anyone of all ages. Doesn't matter if you're much older and you think that the help is not for you, it is. One call can change your or a loved one's life, and COMC and Lake TV want you to know that nobody is struggling alone. So make sure you know the resources that are available to you right here at Lake of the Ozarks in your own backyard, and by going to centralozarks.org. You can find all the resources right there, from where you reach out, who you talk to. It's very discreet, and so there's never that shame or anything. This would be the shameful thing, is if something like this ended up happening, and heaven forbid it's you struggling and it's your loved ones, your friends, your families, your coworkers left picking up the pieces. And so you're not alone. Make sure you know you can reach out and there will be help for you.
Absolutely. And that's one of the great things about COMC here locally. You know, I mean, it's not just medical health care that they offer. They do offer behavioral health care. And you know, we live in a crazy, upside down, nutsy world right now. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. If you need to talk to somebody, make that call.
Sure.
You know, to COMC or somebody to talk to that can help you out. I mean, I just can't imagine being so desperate and so much despair that you would light yourself on fire.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's just, it just sounds so horrible. Obviously it is, but there is help if you need help. Like he said, go to centralozarks.org to find the information. Just give them a call, talk to somebody, and they'll be happy to help you out.
Yep, no doubt about it. So, Hey, more uplifting note, we got an opportunity Monday to go out to the Quaker Windows and Doors.
First time I've been there. That was cool.
Yeah, I've driven by lots of times, and they're in their phase 3 of their expansion and construction project, and they had a groundbreaking ceremony out there on Monday, and it was great. You saw Governor Parson. We heard from CEO of Quaker Windows and Doors, Kevin Blanchett. We heard from the Missouri DED, and they had a groundbreaking ceremony. They turned some dirt with some shovels, and you really got to see the massive size at Quaker Windows and Doors. And with this new expansion program, they're launching a massive painting facility as well as a massive glass facility. And when I heard Quaker Windows and Doors, I'm thinking, okay, they just mass produce like doors and window panelings that you're going to see at Menards and Home Depot and stuff. Well, they do that, but they also hold patents, 4 different patents. And over the last 5 years, they invented and created crazy new inventions and things and ways to make doors more long-lasting or have better longevity, to be less expensive. And so they do all this right here and at their headquarters in Freeburg.
Yeah.
And what I thought was cool is they have 3 wings of the business. They have their residential, they have their commercial,
Yep.
they have their luxury. And with commercial, Quaker is one of, if not the largest, window partner and providers of Marriott hotels in America.
Yeah.
And so we were talking with their chief marketing officer, Bill, and he said, yeah, what people don't realize is when Marriott's building a new resort or a new build somewhere, we come in the early phases and they find out what new windows and how we can accommodate that. And so I didn't even realize that a lot of those big structures, they were showing these big towns in Chicago and New York City and the big buildings and residential, commercial, but then these huge, shared living quarters. And I mean, it's unbelievable. And that's right out of Eldon, Missouri, and Quaker Windows and Doors. They're out of Freeburg, Missouri.
Yep.
They broke ground in Eldon in, I believe, May of 2020.
Right during COVID. Yeah.
Right during COVID. And this is their 3rd expansion already. They employ roughly 500 people, and it's anticipated that with this expansion, they'll be adding 200 new jobs. And what we heard from the governor, Mike Parson, is these are great paying jobs with good benefits, and it's why Quaker, I didn't realize this, they have a waiting list of people wanting to get a job there. And this is a business that's located in Eldon, Missouri.
Right.
And you know what the workforce is like nationwide, but especially in the Midwest right now. Year-round help at Lake of the Ozarks is not easy. And so it goes to show that they take care of their people, they pay well, great benefits and employee packages. And that's really cool right here at Eldon. You had State Rep Willard Haley, who represents Morgan County. You had Don Mahue, who represents Miller County. You had Trevor Vernon, the mayor of Eldon. You had Matt Kostelnik with the Eldon Chamber. Matt Davis with the Eldon School District. You could really see the camaraderie of the Eldon community all the way from the school district, the locals, all the way up to the state level, and just how well they've done. And Quaker's been a big part of that.
Big part of really helping Eldon resuscitate. They went through a tough time there for a while, and they're doing really well now, and Quaker is a big part of that. So is Trevor Vernon. He's been a great mayor, and I believe he is going to be reelected there. And some good people. You mentioned a lot of the politicians. Everybody who is somebody was there for this groundbreaking, including you, the owner of Lake TV, which is pretty cool. But it was kind of fun to rub noses. And then this Kevin Blanchett, the CEO of Quaker, is actually a Camdenton guy.
Yeah.
He went to Camdenton High School, graduated there, and something else they mentioned almost in passing, that they're doing this build out in Eldon in phases, and they've got a couple more phases to go. But do you remember when he mentioned maybe when this is done, we're going to build another facility somewhere in the area? Maybe not in Eldon, maybe in Versailles or Camdenton or Osage Beach or somewhere, but they've got these plans they're formulating. That's a possibility.
Family owned,
Yeah.
operated, local, here in Missouri, staying local. And we actually got a chance to talk to some of their employees, and they were like, look, we love it here. We absolutely love our job. Not only, it's not just about the pay. They're like, it's not, hey, yes, we get paid well, we have good benefits. They're like, it's the culture here. Like, we have incredible leadership, the way they deal with PR issues, the way they deal with everything. He goes, it's top notch. And I heard that from numerous employees. So it was really cool to get to be at this groundbreaking and get to meet some of the Quaker folks. And I'm telling you what, what a big player down here at Lake of the Ozarks as far as over the next couple of years, 700 to 800 people they'll employ from Jefferson City, Eldon, Versailles, Lake of the Ozarks, Stover area. I mean, that's big, and that's something this area has lacked for a long time, are those good year-round paying jobs.
No doubt. You know, and talking with those Quaker employees, you know what else they all said? I love Lake TV.
That's
I
true.
love the doc series, and I love Cup of Coffee. Because you guys talk about what's going on here at the lake.
So Quaker, thank you guys.
Yes.
For all of our Quaker staff members watching this week, thank you guys for your kind words. We left really feeling great about ourselves, so thank you. And hey, speaking of that, we talked about the economy and how jobs are tough. Right along with that, I saw a headline I thought was interesting that renters across the country, not just here in Missouri, but renters are starting to get to the point where they feel like they may never be able to be a homeowner. They cannot afford it.
Check out some of these stats. The vast majority, 86% of current renters in the United States say they would like to buy a house but can't afford one. This is according to a CNN poll. Among those same renters who can't afford to buy a home right now, 54% of those think it's unlikely they will ever be able to. Those are some starkly sad poll numbers there. Wow.
Yeah, and they're listing 3 different key variables. Surging home prices is one, which there's no doubt. Prices have surged and they continue to skyrocket. You also look at elevated mortgage and interest rates. That's made it unattainable. And the third one is saving enough money for the down payment. That's hard when you're already behind. I looked through that article that was by ABC 17, and that was a CNN poll they were referring to. They spoke with a physician in Phoenix, a medical doctor. His wife works part-time teaching at the local school. They've got 2 kids. They currently rent a townhouse in Phoenix with so much student debt. They say that buying is not an option and may never be. And we're talking about a physician who you would think would be in the higher echelon
making a lot of
earning.
money.
And so I looked a little further into this, and 68% of Americans that are currently renting say their family owned a home growing up and now they feel like they will never. The median home price in June of 2024 across the country, this isn't just Lake area, $426,900. This is according to the National Association of Realtors. That's up 4.1% from June of 2023, which is the second straight record month that we've increased at a record rate. 4.1% up from last year. And last year was a big year for increasing the rates. So that's big. And again, down payments, high interest rates, and qualifying for a mortgage are 3 reasons why renters out there feel like they will never be able to rent a home. And if things don't change, that's probably going to be the reality of it.
Yeah, I was really interested in reading that story about the 39-year-old pediatrician you were talking about. He's a doctor and can't afford to buy a house, right? In Arizona, he was saying. But one of the things was student loan, student debt is part of the problem, you know, and that is a major issue. College university prices have gone so high, and they're giving out these easy to get student loans that are so hard to pay back. That's a major issue that I hadn't even thought about, that a doctor can't even afford to buy the house.
Yeah, it is wild that the student loans, and, you know, I always thought about that. I didn't like the idea of forgiving student loans. I mean, not everybody chose to take them, but I did see a comparison, showed somebody that left after an 8-year degree that they were paying $640 a month on their student loan, and when they graduated, they had like a $92,000 debt. Well, they paid that at the minimum payment for the last 20 years, and their amount they owe is still the exact same. So they have paid that hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month, every month, for the last 20 years, and their principal has not changed. And so that's where you almost understand how criminal the idea of student loans and all the universities and what they're teaching kids for what? Then you leave unable to go work in the workforce, but you're going to be crippled by this debt that hangs over your head forever. So kind of I started to soften towards that view. Just like, well, in some cases, I think that, man, how crazy is that some of these people that have those loans paying the minimum for 20 years and they haven't touched the principal.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I'm not against paying off student loan debt. I don't think that's fair to the rest of America. I mean, students who took out these loans knew what they were doing. They
Right.
shouldn't have done it, right? Should have been smarter than that or figured out a different way. But it is diabolical the way they get these kids stuck for basically, potentially the rest of their life with a very high, outrageously high student loan, because colleges make these loans and the government make these loans so easy to get, and the college prices have gone up since they've been available. It's all just a scam, really, but it's hamstringing our children is what it's
And
doing.
they feel like, that being kids, that you get out of high school, you have to go to university, you
Yeah.
have to go get your degree, you have to go have that experience. It was refreshing Monday when we heard our governor, Mike Parson, talking about 65% of Missourians don't have a college degree. He doesn't have a college degree.
He doesn't.
And he said that that's going to continue, and he goes, we need trade school. We need more trade school. Universities, he goes, let's face it, kids aren't going to go to college, and they probably don't need to. And it was like, wow.
Yeah.
To hear your governor say that.
Well, there's a lot of brainwashing going on in colleges today. It's not necessarily a good thing. I would rather have my kids go to trade school than university now, because the university system is so broken, and it's a ripoff. And the government has helped them rip off our own children, basically.
You hear Governor Mike Parson say Monday, I don't know if anyone else caught it, but he slid in that, hey, I'm not here to solve the federal government problems. He goes, I'm not sure that's solvable or ever will be.
I did hear that, yeah. I mean, and he's right, I mean, we need a miracle from God to save this country.
But yeah, as our standing governor say that, I thought that was refreshing to hear some truth. So, all right, now as we move ahead, we are going to look back at the mini shootout. We promised you Captain Ron's Taste of the Lake. We're going to save it. There's
Let's
too
do
much
that
going
next
on
week, yeah.
with Captain Ron's this week.
Yeah.
Last week we announced Ron's resignation. This week we got the shootout coming like a freight train. Of course, this last weekend was the mini shootout. Depending on when you watch this episode of Cup of Coffee, don't forget the Lake of the Ozarks shootout all weekend long live on Lake TV. Our pre-race show was Wednesday or is Wednesday, but hey, look, if it's already gone, go back to the Lake TV shootout coverage Facebook group and our Lake TV offshore YouTube channel, as well as go to my Facebook page, William Holtz Lake TV, and my Instagram page. You can see so much Lake of the Ozarks shootout content, behind the scenes, runs, coverage. So make sure, if it hasn't happened, you're tuning into Lake TV this weekend. If it has, we have it all there archived. But as far as the mini shootout, it was Kevin Cram from Galveston, Texas.
Yep.
Second straight year in a row this year, 117, did the trick, taking the top gun. And what I learned at the mini shootout this year is just how close-knit the mini shootout community is. Robert and Roger Lease, they were involved early on, and I saw lots of posts from people that said, man, what a great weekend, my first time. They got me to race a boat. They let me borrow their boat to race it. And so great camaraderie.
Yep.
And Kevin Cram, again, he took the Top Gun, but Melissa Collins, she won that they call the female Top Gun, but it's called Donna Lease First Lady Award, named after Roger Lease's late wife, I believe. And that was an emotional presentation when Roger gave the plaque to Melissa Collins, who won that. And that was cool, but big shout out to that entire community with the RC mini boats.
Yep.
I mean, that is so cool. And we have some really cool highlights you can go check out on Facebook and YouTube. And what a week it's going to be. And of course, if you're not tired of Shootout, which you might very well be if you've been watching Lake TV all week and are watching this week's Cup of Coffee, don't forget we also have Myrick Coyle on this week.
Like his favorite friend now. You were just over at his dock the other day.
Yeah, he's coming on or did come on a pre-race show, but yeah, I'm a fanboy when it comes to Myrick Coyle. Catch him on this week's Community Spotlight show. Of course, Happy Hour with DJ Kyle Miller, powered by Becky Jennings and the Jennings Insurance Group. What a cool new partnership that's going to be with Becky Jennings.
And high school football is coming.
Oh, like a freight train.
Your first game is Friday, August 30th, Bolivar at Osage. That is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to do my interview with Shannon Jolly again.
Yeah.
No, he loves that.
Oh, he loves you. Well, speaking of that, Coach's Show starts on the 27th, Tuesday the 27th. We talk with coaches from Camdenton and Osage Beach.
Listen, that's next Tuesday, guys.
It is. It's crazy. Wow.
It's flying up. Listen, also got Weekend at the Lake. with David Leatherberry. All kinds of great stuff right here on Lake TV from our LOZ Premier Properties right here at Slumberland at the Lake.
Yep.
And our monthly market update with the Bruce and Kelly team. For Shootout Week from Cup of Coffee, I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And we'll see you next week.